What about this? Right? Is this personal branding? Who doesn't know who this guy is? That's yeah, that's the Macho Man Randy Savage. Right? So he has a personal brand. It's extreme, over the top. Right? And a lot of people think of personal branding like this, like you have to turn yourself into this. This is not the idea. Now, if you're a pro wrestler, if you're a national figure of some sort, you may want to go to the extreme, but this is not what we're talking about. This is my buddy, Zach, who gave me the Chamber of Commerce picture. He is a big wrestling fan, and he kind of took some of those elements to create this picture. Right? He wants to stand out from the crowd. He wants to make a statement. But even this is a little to the extreme, I would say. Most of us are not going to do things like this. Wear t-shirts and jeans all the time, have our hair, if we had any, pointed up, right, sticking up, and screaming and bear hugging, right? That's not what we're talking about either. He's taking it to a little bit of a minor extreme, really. We want something a little more subtle, right? So this right here is an example. We're jumping all over the place. This is an example of someone who's done a fairly well or good job of branding themselves. This is a Twitter profile, and look at the number of followers. And if you look at the description, there's really nothing spectacular, I would say, here. But she's branded herself in a way, and she's spoken in a way where she's gotten a lot of attention from a lot of people. That's a big count, 55,000. Here's another person. This is from a website. This is a screenshot. And he's done a very good job of branding himself, and he's an author now, and he talks about how to get rich, basically how to think yourself into being rich. Who doesn't want that, right? But and look at the picture. It's not flamboyant. He's not making a huge statement. He's just looking at the cameras. No big deal, right? And then this is mine, so not flamboyant. It's just a picture of me. It's actually a picture that Jamal took in our office. But this is on our website, and I'm really just kind of making a statement. And the statement is off to the left, and it's a description of who we are and a little bit even about me. So it doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be over the top. Certainly that's going to get you attention, but you probably don't want that kind of attention, right? You just want to be known. So as an example, I was networking about 2 weeks ago. I went to a Chesapeake Economic Development happy hour. And I went over to someone that I didn't know who they were. I had never met him, I've never seen him. And I introduced myself, and he said, "Oh, I know who you are, Eric. I watch your videos, I listen to your podcasts, and I consume your content." And then he started to tell me a story. He regurgitated a story that I had provided somewhere, either on LinkedIn as a post, or as an article, or as the podcast. But he knew me, and I didn't know him, which is kind of an awkward thing. But what's great about it is, in that interaction, I didn't have to spend any time explaining who I was. I didn't have to sell myself, if you will, in the very beginning of that conversation. We could turn the conversation right to him, which is actually where I want to be in these kinds of conversations. I don't want to spend time pitching you on who I am. I want to learn about you to see if there's anything that I can help with, to see if there's any opportunities there. So that's the power of a personal brand. And there's personal brands that are huge, just enormous. Kylie Jenner, right? Probably the biggest personal brand there is out there right now. The youngest billionaire to date, right? That's a personal brand. We're not even talking about that. We're just talking about people knowing who you are in the community that you interact with, getting established. So that's, in a nutshell, what a personal brand is. You don't have to be flashy. Right? You could be subtle. You could do it in your own style, and we're going to go through a couple of different things to consider when you establish your personal brand. Here's a textbook definition of a personal brand. And for me, this doesn't help at all. Right? It's just basically saying you're just branding yourself or your company or whatever, right? This doesn't help at all. Your personal brand is the promise that you make to the outside world. It's a promise of who you are and what you represent and what they should expect if they interact with you. And so you need to be thinking about what is your promise? What do you bring to the table? What do you represent? This is, anyone know who this is? No? Yeah, kind of famous. She does a great job with her personal brand. Obviously, a huge personal brand here. It's made her very wealthy. It also took a long time to build up to that point. But the reason I chose this slide is not so much for her as the word that's next to her, reputation. A lot of people say that a personal brand is the same thing as reputation. You're just getting out a little bit further than your normal circles. And so your personal brand is your reputation, and it can represent whatever you want it to represent. In this case, Taylor Swift has some attributes that you'd probably associate with her personal brand and her reputation. Certainly, she's a great singer. She's also of high quality. And what I mean by that is she won't take on projects that she doesn't personally believe in. She will walk away from projects. And that's part of her reputation, is that she will turn things down unless it doesn't mesh with her core values and her reputation. You could have a completely different reputation. Right? So the reason I grabbed this because it was right next to the picture, the previous picture. Right? She's making a statement. And she's making a completely different statement, but this is the reputation that she wants, and this is the personal brand that she's building. She doesn't care what other people think. That's right, she's a rebel, right? That could be part of your personal brand too. And all right, so reputation is what we're really talking about. The reputation is what precedes you, right? Whether you like it or not, everybody has a reputation. So when we're talking about personal brand, we're really talking about taking your reputation and magnifying it at scale. Getting that reputation out much further than you normally could just by meeting people and doing business in general. Way beyond your normal sphere of influence. And then the question is, how far can you take it, or how far do you want to take it? But no matter what, we already have a personal brand. And it's kind of like that chamber picture that I showed before. Whether they like it or not, and whether they acknowledge it or not, they've branded themselves. They're part of the collective. If you are online at all, even like a personal Facebook profile, then you've already created a personal brand. It's just a matter of what are you doing with it. So I would imagine, well, I know almost everyone here has a LinkedIn profile, but I would imagine even the folks that don't have LinkedIn profiles are online some way, somehow. And even if it's not social media, they're emailing people, they're out there. Company webpage, right? There's something, there's a footprint out there. So you have a personal brand already. The thing you need to do is cultivate it. Otherwise, it's just, well, it speaks for itself. If you do nothing with your personal brand that's already out there, then that is your personal brand that maybe people will assume you don't care, right? Or that you're lazy because you haven't done anything. But no matter what, you're out there. So think about that too. If you're on social media, you've got a personal brand already. The idea is let's make it a little bit better. So we're all brands. Every single day we're walking around and we're brands. And the point I'm trying to get across is, yeah, let's focus on it and let's make it better. This came through actually as I was building the slide deck. So I got an email from LinkedIn, and it says, this shows how many people visited my profile on LinkedIn. So 913 in the last, well, I don't know, whatever the time frame was, visited my profile on LinkedIn, which is great because people are visiting. They're interested. They're trying to find out more information about me. I don't know who they are. I don't know why they're there, but I want to greet them with something. And I wish it was 1,000. I wish it was 2,000. I wish it was 10,000. The more people that come, the more people are going to clearly be interested in whatever it is that I'm doing or saying or pushing or selling or want to achieve. The more people that you can gather around you, the more likely it is you'll have success with whatever it is you're trying to do. All right, so just kind of in a summary of what is your personal brand. It's already there. You already have your personal brand. You're already out online on social media, so it's a matter of cultivating it and making it better. Does that make sense? Are there any questions? Cool. All right, we are flying through this. Good. Actually, the last part I think you're going to find very interesting. It's kind of an audit of the individual LinkedIn profiles, and that's where I can give you some tips and tricks. All right, so why even worry about this stuff? Why worry about a personal brand? So for me, I am the co-owner of a digital marketing agency, Array Digital. If I weren't in the professional capacity that I'm in right now, and if I wasn't eager to be a leader in our industry, or in my business, or in any business at all, like if I wasn't even in business, I wouldn't have a personal brand. The only reason I'm doing it personally is for the company. Right? So as a co-owner, I have certain incentives and I have certain goals that I want to achieve, and the company is a huge goal for me. I want this company to be successful, and I want it to live and prosper way beyond me. So I have ambitions for the business. That's my situation. The business can only do so much to get so much attention by itself. What we've decided to do is actually leverage, we being me and my business partner, who's Kevin Daisy, is to establish a personal brand that supports the business, because the business itself can only get so much attention. People are only so interested in a business. At the end of the day, it's a faceless entity, and what we want to do is we want to humanize it. Right? So we are literally sacrificing our own personal brands for the company, to the point where everyone in my company who needs access to it gets access to all my personal profile credentials, all my social media credentials. So Jamal, as an example, he can log into my LinkedIn right now. He can do whatever he needs to or wants to. I trust him, right? I trust my folks. Twitter, Instagram, they can post these things. This video that we're recording right now, the whole reason we're recording this is because this is an opportunity to show that I'm speaking in public, that I'm a change agent, that I'm influential when it comes to personal branding and digital marketing, right? It's an opportunity to capture something and then to use it later, right? So we can take what we're doing here by talking to all of you, and then we can magnify it even further. But we are taking our personal profiles and we're not using it for our own personal self, we're using it for the betterment of the company. Now, if you're a business owner, I would imagine you're in the same situation. If you're not a business owner, but you're working in a business, if you're an executive or you're working towards that, I would think that your goal would be to get into those executive positions and be a partner in a company, right? How many people here are either co-owners of a company or a partner? Okay. 2? All right. How many people are executives working towards that? All right, quite a few. And how many people here think that they won't ever have any kind of ownership or partnership in a company? Or that's just not like in the game plan? Does everybody here kind of want that out of their career path? Yeah? Kind of, sort of? Yeah? You've done it before. Okay. All right, so you know where I'm coming from. All right, you're taking a break now? Is that it? Okay, all right. Fair enough. You never lose the itch. All right. So you're working towards usually something that's bigger than you. For my situation, what's bigger than me is the company that I'm trying to build up and the clients that we're trying to help. Example of my profile on LinkedIn. So let me just kind of walk through this real quick and show you some of the elements that we feel is important that you could bring into your LinkedIn profile right away. So the very first thing you'll probably notice is a profile picture on the left-hand side, upper left-hand side. Everyone should have a profile picture. There were a couple of you that don't. If you don't have a profile picture, then you're literally a faceless thing or entity on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's all about making a personal connection. The second thing that you may notice is the header image. What's that? Okay. The second thing is that header image. The header image is an image or a photo that you can upload. It can be whatever you want. Most of you have not used the header image at all. You have the default image. And I can show you, again, I've got screenshots of everyone's profiles. We can go through them later. Yeah. If you use the app, then it still shows it. It's just much smaller. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So this is super beneficial on a desktop. On mobile, it's not so much. I don't have a statistic, but I would, generally speaking, 50 to 60% of web pages are consumed on mobile phones. So desktop is the minority, but LinkedIn is a business networking platform. I would assume that people use it for the most part during their core business hours, which means in front of a desktop. So I would think that the percentage of desktop for LinkedIn would be higher than general websites. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And one thing you may notice is there's another picture of me off to the right. That's really for mobile, and it's much bigger than everything else in that header image because on mobile the whole thing shrinks down, so at least you'll see the picture. But also what happens is the profile on the left, that circle, on mobile it shifts to the center, which means that on mobile whatever you have in the center of your header image is going to be covered up. On mobile. Yeah, I'm really trying to put a face with a name. Yeah. That's right. That was excellent. Yeah. An image. Yeah, it can be anything. Any image you want. It's got to be an image. Correct. Yep. So it's an opportunity for you to get a message out. I would say that the picture on the right is probably overkill and certainly debatable since there's already a picture, but you're getting a message out. Right? This is an opportunity for messaging, and this is what we call above the fold. So if you look at a web page, if you're thinking about a web page, at some point it gets cut off because your monitor is just not big enough. So, but this is above the fold, which means it's super valuable real estate, and it's at the top, and the eye starts at the top and scans down and to the right. So I use this as a message for what I would like people to remember me, or when they think about me, what it is that I'm actually pushing. And so I'm not explicitly pushing the business here. What I'm actually pushing is the personal brand, because I think that people can connect better with a person than a company. But then I'm also saying, hey, by the way, if you need a speaker or you need a podcast guest, think of me. I'm putting out there in the world that I'm available. Right? Because this is actually what I want. Because those things are going to lead to recognition of me, which leads to recognition of the company. Yeah. Yep. Right. Yeah. What you're referring to is in LinkedIn is called the headline. So if you go into your profile and you edit it, there's a field for headline. They by default put your job title in there. Now, I don't have my title in here. All right, so my official title is founder and CEO, and usually of Array Digital. Right? So that's the long formal title. I don't have it here because that's not actually what I want to push. Right? What I want to push is more something about me and the value that I can bring to you as an individual looking at me. So I'm trying to speak to that person that's looking at the profile, not the people that could look at the profile. So that's a kind of a marketing concept, is that whenever you put something out in the world, whether it's a tweet, post, or an article, you want to be speaking to one person, right? Out of all the people that could be looking at this thing, you want it to be so fine-tuned that when one out of 100 people, 99 people may say, this isn't for me, but one person is going to say, wow, it's like Erik speaking right to me. And you want to find those individuals one at a time. Right. Yeah.
So you kind of brought this up when you said people want to start their own business, people really want to go and have your personal brand kind of thing. So a lot of these folks around the table work for a company, but I don't know if they've ever thought about the fact that the way they do this, while they may not ever think of leaving the current company they're in, but headhunters go on and look at this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But that's, I just kind of want to, so that's, you know, but how can they use it if they never want to? What would be the benefit of making sure this still happens? If you never want to own a company, or you're happy where you are, and that kind of stuff.
All right. So we're going to get to that. We are definitely going to get to that. Let me see if there's anything else to talk about here. The description talks about kind of that's just my standard description about the things that I'm involved in. Entrepreneur. You see how I kind of did that with the brackets? Just something a little bit different. Actually, I just did that about a week ago. Business card is the formal title. Yeah. Yeah, well, in that particular case, I'm representing the company, right? So it's my official capacity as the CEO. Yeah.
On titles, though, like, do you think, like, they're significant? So, like, someone that's not a CEO, or in my case, I'm an accounting executive, but I'm thinking of changing my title, but I'm not sure what that, some people don't even put titles on their business cards, and I'm kind of wondering what
Yeah.
your kind of stance is on the significance of whether you just put, like, producer, kind of thing. Everyone's a vice president now. I feel like it's larger companies pushing that stuff.
Yeah. 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 No, you're right.
So I was just wondering, because I'm thinking about title on the card or title.
I would go title on a business card. So some people don't even have business cards. Like I've met people that don't believe in them anymore because they can send a text message. But for those that do, you almost always expect to have a title. And that way it positions you in an organization, if you will. Right. As far as the LinkedIn headline goes, though, the theory is I can see what your title is just by scrolling down because you have all of your experience in there. So your title is going to be there. But the headline is like the headline of a story. And do you really want to lead with your formal position that your company gave you? And especially when it's something like that doesn't even really apply, like computer scientist 3. Like you'll see that all the time on LinkedIn. The actual formal human resources title. And it's just so non-descriptive, it doesn't make any sense. So what a lot of people like to do is put in the headline the value that you bring to the marketplace. Like what's different about you than someone else in your position? Right? Why are you better? Are you a thought leader? Are you dedicated? Do you make sure? There you go. Yeah, great beard. but that's the idea is attributes of you, not your position. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I want to connect with people on LinkedIn, but I don't want them to think I'm just connected so I can sell.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, I want them to know that I'm the guy to talk to if they were.
Right. So something more along the lines of, yeah, but Selling unfortunately has a negative connotation to it, right? When I hear sales, you're trying to sell me something, right? Yeah, and no one wants to be sold. I don't want to be sold to, right? No one wants to be sold to, but what I do want are solutions, right, to my problems. So something to do with solutions, problem solver, consultant, expert, right? So that if I have this problem that you're selling an offering, right? And if I have a problem that offering can solve, and you tell me I can solve this problem in that headline, then it'll get my attention. Bingo. Yeah. And it doesn't have to even mention sales. Just like you're the person to talk to if you have an environmental cleanup issue. Yeah. No. No. No, but if you're on a budget and you need a car and the headline is I can get you into a car for cheap or whatever, right? Or I'll get you the car of your dreams without breaking the bank. Right? And obviously you want to tweak these words, but that'll get your attention. Correct. Solve that problem. Yep. You're not a sales guy. You're solving a problem. You're a consultant. Right? You're a partner. Yeah, I don't want to deal with salespeople, but I will talk to a salesperson if they can solve my problem and I feel like they're connecting and they're helping me. Yeah. Yeah. The way that LinkedIn shows it, it's really surprising that they do that. I don't know why they say 500 plus, because later, like lower in your profile, they'll show you how many followers you have. And if you pay for a premium plan, they'll actually show you how many connections everybody has. So it's weird how they just say 500 plus. There's probably history there. So, okay, on that point, most people treat LinkedIn connections like they treat Facebook connections, which is they will only connect if they've met someone in the real world. Like, I'm guessing most of you probably, you just connected with me, right? Yeah. You probably wouldn't have connected with me unless you saw me in person, right? Which that was good. Thank you for connecting, right? But the idea of only connecting with people that you know in person is a mistake if you think about LinkedIn as a networking community. So on Facebook, it's an exclusive club because it's personal and you're sharing very personal things, right? Pictures with the family or whatever. You don't necessarily want that out wide open in the world, right? You just want to share with a few people. So there's an exclusivity concept with Facebook. With LinkedIn, you don't want that. You want it to be like a networking event. So imagine like if you were coming today, you come in here and you only talk to the person or the people that you already know in this room, you'd be missing out on a huge opportunity to meet everyone else in this room, right? So when you go to a networking event, it's natural to buddy up with the person that you came with or the people that you know, but that shouldn't be the goal in an in-person networking event. The goal is to network. You want to meet new people and see if there's any opportunities. See if you can help them, see if they can help you. It's the exact same with LinkedIn. So what you should do is treat LinkedIn like a networking event. Go there and try to find people that are like-minded or could use your services, especially if you're in business development. Yeah. Right. It's probably not a scam. Yeah. No, I get it. It's up to you whether you accept or not. Right? And he also posts on certain days and times of the week. The best time to post he found was Tuesdays between 8 and 10 a.m. The second best time was Wednesdays between 8 and 10 a.m. And the third best time was Mondays between 8 and 10 a.m. And by doing that and by telling his network by phone or by text, I'm about to post, please comment on it. By doing small things like that, he gets up to 50 to 100,000 views. So that's the philosophy that we're following now for Arlington. And it seems to be working. We're getting more and more traction. Yeah. You're not going to watch it. No. No. Yeah. It's too much of a commitment. No one has any time for anything these days, right? So I don't know of a study, but if you look at the tools that are out there, things like Instagram, a video can only be a minute long. Instagram stories, 15 seconds long, right? So they're telling you, like, this is the duration that you want to be at. Certainly, if I were to put up, most of what we put up, video or audio-wise, is really short. People are just not that interested in hunkering down for 20 minutes to watch a video. Yeah. All right. All right. So I think we've kind of established some of these slides I'm about to go through. By doing these things, you're setting yourself up as an expert. As an expert, you will appear to be more influential than you probably are in reality. And that's okay. It's okay to kind of front a little bit. You don't want to make anything up. You don't want to lie, that's for sure. But you want to come off as being just a little bit bigger and more influential than maybe you actually are. As an example, I put out a tweet last night that said, oh, I just wrapped up the keynote for a session of executives tomorrow, right? I didn't say how many people, right? I didn't know if it was actually going to be executives or what. And is this really a keynote? Maybe debatable, right? But so just a little bit, a little bit pushing it out there for marketing purposes. It makes you appear bigger, which then gives you options, okay? So the whole thing here is you want to establish, regardless of whether you're a business owner, executive, employee, you want options in your life, right? You don't want necessarily that there's going to be one road laid out for you and you have to follow that no matter what. You want to have options and you want to have splits in the road and you have decisions to make so that you are actually the one creating the focus in your life and getting the control. And so you want to be the one that makes the decisions about where your life goes versus someone else dictating this is the way it's going to be. And this is what a personal brand will do for you. It gives you those options and it puts everything into focus with your personal brand and you get some control in your career. And when you do this, you're going to get a bigger and more influential network. And what does a bigger network lead to? More sales, more opportunities. Your network is your net worth. You ever heard that? You want a big network. And you want a network not of superficial people, but people that are actually engaged with you and very interested in what you have to say. That's going to lead to opportunities, options, and some control in your life. And then eventually success, right? That's the whole theory behind a personal brand, is you're the one that's making these decisions versus having things happen to you. I'll make these available afterwards, if you'd like, and that way we've got a recap here. All right, finding your voice. So I've talked about who your personas and who you are and what you want to put out there in the world. This is just as a comparison. These are the core values of my company. But when I talk about a personal brand, I'm talking about me. And I have slightly different ones. And I actually didn't write it down until it was time to do this talk. So some of the things that I personally believe in, and they're going to correlate a lot with the company because it's my company, so I'm the one that set most of those core values for the company. But for me, it's things like I want to be known as a digital marketing expert. Right? So expert level in this field that I'm a part of. I want to be known as a straight shooter. right? No bullshit. Like when you hear something from me, I'm either going to say it as it is, you know, whether it hurts your feelings or not, whether the data supports what you believe or not, and it's either going to be correct, or I'm going to tell you I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure if it's percent based or if it's a number. Good question, all right? I want to be a pioneer, so I want to try things that haven't been tried yet, or I want to be where people are trying something new. As an advertising agency, I want to be in voice marketing, which is emerging, things like Alexa and the Google Home. I don't want to be doing print ads. It's just not for me. I want to be a pioneer. Experience over opinion for me. All right, so what does that mean? That means that I will share my experiences with you, but I'm not going to give you opinions on something that I haven't actually done. All right? So everybody's got opinions, but they're worthless. They're literally worthless if you haven't actually experienced these things yourself. And then mentor. So I'm 46 years old now. I've been in business for 25 years or so, and I'm getting to the point where I feel like I actually have something that I can share. And I want that to be part of my core values, one of the attributes that people think of me. If you're looking for a mentor, you may want to go talk to Eric. If it's not Eric, he'll probably connect you with someone else. Platforms is another big question that we get when it comes to personal branding. What platforms do you or should you be on? There's a lot of different platforms out there. There was a slide I had before which was just a big matrix of all these different platforms that are out there. These are the ones that I support with my personal brand. And so let me step you through them real quick. The first is Array Digital. I'm inextricably connected with the company. Right? So Array Digital is one of my platforms. Journey to $100 million is the podcast, and I have a screenshot of that next. So we have a podcast. It's a daily podcast where we talk about growing the business and all the things that we've learned along the way. So that's the podcasting is a platform for me. Marketers Anonymous is the meetup that I just told you about. So we have in-person meetings. Now, more normal kinds of social media platforms, Medium. Who here has a Medium account? No one? Good for you. All right. So Medium is where you can post an article. You can put a blog post on there. It's a platform for you to write about whatever you want. And there's a community out there, and other people that have the same interests can find you. It's very similar to like a LinkedIn article. Quora. Quora is a platform where people will ask questions and you can answer those questions. So I'll look for questions like, why should I have a personal brand? And then I'll write my response, and maybe I'll put a hyperlink to the slide deck or something like that. And I'm trying to give people information, but then I'm also trying to build up my community. Yeah. But it's a web page. It's a web page where someone literally asks a question. It can be any question, and then people can chime in with the answers, and you can upvote the answers. Okay. LinkedIn. We've talked a lot about LinkedIn. That's definitely part of it. Oops. Twitter. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So the more traditional social media platforms, those are the ones that I support with my personal brand and that we support as a company.
Formats that I can post to every state at once. So there are those opportunities. If you're doing a company, that's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
I think with Facebook and Instagram, you can make it work together somehow. But so if you post something else. There are programs out there. One called Weekly, one is called COH.
Yep. Yeah, there's a.
What's nice is you can go and even like in Facebook, you put 15 pictures or whatever. It'll tell you from these others, you can only do one picture. Click the one that is going to go on this, and you have your character thing and all that. But if you keep it simple, then that way you can post to everything at one time.
Yeah, I didn't go into tools, but there's hundreds of tools out there. Buffer is another good one. So with Buffer, you can connect to your social media platforms, and you can take one piece of content and you can send it to multiple. But what's nice about it is you designate when it should go out. You can schedule it. And then when you have an idea, you just put it into Buffer, and whenever the next time is that you've designated, it just goes out on a schedule.
I think one of the most daunting things of all of this is you guys are all sitting here. Actually,
It's urgency versus importance, right? It's not urgent, but I'm trying to make the case that it's important in the long term. If you don't do this, then you're isolating yourself. You're vulnerable. Journey to 100 million. Again, this is the podcast. You can see what we do is we push it to all these different platforms. These are all different podcast platforms. I don't care where someone's listening. I just want them to listen. So we don't pick a platform in this particular case. A couple of I'm going to show you screenshots of my social media. Feel free to ask questions. These are the ones that I really like right now. This is Twitter. So I'm really enjoying Twitter. I kind of got away from it for a while, and now I'm back into it. And I'm trying to get my follower account up. So if you guys are on Twitter, follow me. I want to get it above 700 as quickly as possible. Actually, what I'm doing is when I have downtime, I'll look for relevant hashtags. So and tweets will come up, and I'm joining in on conversations. So people, I have no idea who they are, but I'm putting my 2 cents in. I'm just going right down the line, and if it's applicable and I want to, I'll comment. And what I find is that I'll have some conversations, and then they'll follow me. And now I've got a bigger network. So I love Twitter, and as you can see, what I'm pushing here is not the company. I'm pushing something else that I think people will be more interested in. And what I'm pushing right now is the podcast. I want people to listen and subscribe so that I'm literally in their ear. Medium, talked about that a little bit. The screenshot doesn't show any of the articles that are below. My follower account sucks. I got 5 followers, but I really just started it. But I want to build this up. And then this is Quora that I talked about before. And what you'll see is the descriptions for me, like that paragraph, is usually pretty close to the same. And so I want there to be a similar message and at least a somewhat similar picture of me all over the place. Oh, another thing that I do is, okay, you can't see it here. Actually, you can right here. See this right here? I am Erik J. Olson. This is all over the place. Anywhere you go, any platform, if I'm on there, I'm going to be I am Erik J. Olson. So it's somewhat long, but it's unique across the board. And there's a tool out there you can search for, Google for like how to find unique social media handles or something like that. And there's tools where you put something in and it'll tell you all the social media platforms, whether it's available or not. That's also my web address. I have a website, a domain, IamErikJOlson.com. When you go to it, it redirects you to a bio page on my company's website. So I can just tell people, find me at I am Erik J. Olson wherever you want to, and I'll be there if I support it. Email signature. This is mine. It's packed, right? I got a ton of stuff going on here. This is a touch point where I'm reaching out to people in a very business setting, right? And I want to tell them like as much as I can. And when these emails get forwarded to other people, it's an introduction. It's a business card. So I've got the logos for all the social media that I support, whatever it is that I'm pushing at the time, which right now is the podcast, that's on there as well. I've even got the latest blog post to Array Digital's blog. This is a tool called WiseStamp, wisestamp.com. There's a fee for it, but it'll dynamically put some data into your email signature like the latest blog, so I don't have to go update it. Really nice. Think about your email signature. Don't use the standard tag. If you can, add some style to it, add some logos to it. It'll set you apart. Yeah. Or if there's nothing, yeah. Yeah, if there's no phone number and no URL, yeah. Yeah. When you post online, try to educate. There's a person named Billy Jean, he's a marketer, and he says, entertain, educate, and then execute, meaning ask for the sale. And that's the philosophy he goes by. So he's very explicit in the execute part. He will literally say, buy my stuff. But when we post, we should be educating people on our knowledge, our expertise. And I'm not saying push yourself. Talk about what it is that makes you an expert, or talk about that topic. Demonstrate that you're an expert. Educate people. You may feel like you're not an expert, but the reality is there's a lot of people that know way less than you. So there's an opportunity for you to become an expert and educate other people. So when you post, think about educational pieces, how you can educate people on your expertise. Be authentic and be vulnerable. The screenshot here is of one of the episodes of our podcast where I literally said my company screwed up. We didn't do what we were supposed to. We got together and we figured out what happened. Now we understand and we've got process in place to fix it. But this is us fessing up. No one's perfect. No one wants you to be perfect or even claim to be perfect. So if you have a vulnerability, expose it. Be authentic. They want you to be authentic. So don't try to position your. I said before, and there's a little bit of contradictory here, because I said before, push the envelope a little bit to establish yourself as a little bit more maybe than you are, but at the same time, acknowledge your faults and that you're not an expert. And it's the reality. We all have these contradictory points to us, right? On the one hand, you feel like you're an expert. On the other hand, you feel like you don't know anything. And the more that you know, the more you realize there's a lot you don't know. It's okay. Express it. All right, boundaries. I'm going to try to wrap this up quick. All right. When you decide you're going to expose yourself, figure out how much of yourself you want to expose. Right? As weird as that sounds. On the left-hand side, we have Grant Cardone. And you can see from the picture, he includes his family in his personal brand. He has videos. One video on Instagram will be about something that he's selling, a book or a conference. The next one will be his kid running down the hall. So he's made a decision to bring his entire family into it. The other person on the right is Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's made the opposite decision. He's not going to include his family, and he tells you that. You're not going to find out about them. That's personal, that's off limits. Gary Vaynerchuk is actually the #1 most influential person on the internet these days when it comes to marketing. Grant's not doing bad either, but either one can work. So it's up to you. You set the boundaries. It's up to you. Personality. Show some personality. Right? This screenshot is something that Gary Vaynerchuk, just came out with. It's the curse-free Gary V. And the reason that's a thing is because he normally cusses his ass off nonstop. Nonstop. That's his personality. He's not going to change it. If you don't like it, don't be a fan, is what he says. Now he's changing his tune a little bit. So they actually censor it out. I don't care for the curse V aspect of him. All right, so do I have a few minutes to go over LinkedIn? Okay. We're going to go over your LinkedIn very quickly. Out of 21 profiles, 21 names that I was given, there's actually only 19 of you on LinkedIn, so 2 people aren't on LinkedIn. I'm guessing. Okay, cool. That just changed. So I looked at so I went to every single profile. If you want, I will deconstruct your profile. If you don't want it, that's fine. The average for everyone in here is that you've posted 2 times. And I don't mean twice a week, I mean 2 times, period. Some people are posting a lot more. Some people have posted never. Right? So 2 times is the medium. When I tick all the frequencies, right in the middle is 2. The number of connections or followers that you have is 428, which is actually pretty good. There's a couple of you that have 1,000 or more. So a couple of, hope you can see this, profile picture. I talked about a profile picture, and that's important. So I think this is probably 3 don't have a profile picture. You know who you are, you should get a profile picture. Yeah, definitely put a profile picture up there. Okay. Sure, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, there's visibility settings. There are visibility settings in LinkedIn. If you want to push your personal brand, set it all to public. That's what I would do.
I didn't realize that it was set to default.
Yeah. The header image. About 2/3 of you or so do not have a header image. It's just the standard blue. It's a great opportunity to put some message out there. So think about what you could put out there, upload that image. The headline. which is for most of you, your official job title. Think about changing that to something that reflects you as a person in a professional capacity versus your official job title. Posting frequency. So I already said the average is 2 posts. This shows you the difference in how many people post at what frequency. Some of these are like, daily, monthly, whatever. Some of them are just like once or twice or 0. But twice is, my guess is that these people that have posted once or twice were probably pushed by someone like Ashley to create a LinkedIn and then post. You're doing the absolute. I would encourage you to start posting more often. And then the follower count. So yeah, top dog is 1,506. And I've actually got a couple of books I want to give out to y'all. Just 3. So this is, again, my friend Zach. He has a book. It's about personal branding. I've got 3 copies I want to hand out. So the first is what I believe is the best profile of anyone, and it's, well, of the people that I looked at. All right. So out of all you, who thinks they have the best profile? There you go. All right. Do you have a copy yet? Okay, cool. There you go. All right. All right, so why do I think hers is the best? She has a header image. She has a nice profile picture. So you can see on the bottom left here some of the things I was like looking for. The headline is descriptive. So it talks about your industry or your company, but it's not your job title, right? So you actually typed it in there, you thought about it. Post frequency, 3 to 4 times a week. And then she has a lot of followers, so good job. All right, and then everyone else. So these hyperlinks will take you to screenshots that I took that also have my analysis at the bottom left. So again, I'm not going to pull yours up if you don't want to, but who would like me to deconstruct theirs? Max, right? All right. Where are you? Oh, here you go. Yes. All right, so here's Max, and what I did is I went to the profile, and then I went to your activity. And so the profile is much bigger. So profile picture, yeah, you have a profile picture. You have a header image, which is great. What do I think of when I see the header image? I think it's some sort of waterfront, maritime, something, right? At least it's somewhat describing your industry. Right? Now, the headline itself is your job title. Yeah, account executive, which to me means salesperson. Well, if you're a partner, you said you're a partner in the company. Yeah. That's something of significance. I would include that. Absolutely. Followers is 571, so it's good. Very good. All right, and who's next? What's your name? Are you right here? Yeah. Okay, Ashley, all right. I'm glad that you volunteered. No header image. That's the standard one. The profile picture, you do have one, but what do you notice? I can't see you. So it's too dark. Yeah, it's a silhouette. And so I would zoom right up. You want a headshot. There's only limited space there, so you want to get a headshot in there versus a body shot. The headline is your job title. You post roughly every other week. I looked at like the last 10 or so and then kind of did some basic math. So about every other week, and you've got a decent number of followers. So, all right, so I didn't tell you guys this before, but these 2 books go to you 2 for volunteering. All right, you got it. The endorsements, it doesn't mean anything. Because what happens is you'll get a prompt to endorse you, and all I have to do is click. And since it's just a click away, it's like a like. The endorsements don't do much. The recommendations do. I would definitely ask for recommendations. Like explicitly ask people for recommendations. It's a part of LinkedIn. So at the very bottom of your profile.
Ask for recommendation. Like my friend Jen just started a new business out in Seattle. She moved there. She said, "Hey, Ash, you know what I can do? Would you mind
Yep.
a recommendation so that I have some followers?"
Yeah, and you can do it through LinkedIn. So in LinkedIn, you can ask your connection, one of your connections, for a recommendation. They'll get a notice, and if they decide to do it, they'll type it out. You would then see the recommendation before it goes public, and you'd approve it. Definitely do that.
You guys could recommend each other from a
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah, cross comment. So if most of you posted a picture of your last session, which is cool, but comment on each other's stuff. You've got a little band here, you know, so take advantage of it. And also what I would say is, when you post, like today, if you're going to post today, first of all, give me a shout out if you would. All right. But also post about not just the fact that you had a meeting, but why it was of value, right? What you took away from it. Right. So it's one thing to say, I was in a meeting. It's another thing to say, I participated in a meeting. It's a higher level, right? And then it's a third to educate. I'm in this program. They're teaching us to do whatever. This guy, Eric, came in today and talked about blah. And from that, I'm going to do these things.